So guys, welcome back to another episode. Today I have the Hex wireless wall speaker. This is actually from Five Below. You can get this for $10, and of course you do have the option to buy multiple speakers that connect to one, and apparently it just makes it sound a lot better. I personally haven't heard the sound yet, so I'm not going to sit here and just, get the cosign until I actually unbox this thing. Now let's talk a little bit specs before we unbox it. Right here it says it has a working distance up to 10 meters, okay? Speaker output is 3 watts. Input is 5 watts. So if you're charging this, just make sure you're using a weaker cable rather than your traditional 1+ chargers. For people out there with chargers 30 watts and higher, be careful. Anyway, charge time is about 2 to 3 hours total from 0 to 100%. Playtime is 3 to 5 hours. And I'm glad they did this in parentheses because I talk about this all the time in videos. At 100%, you're probably going to get about 3 hours. At 5 hours, you're going to have it at about 70%. The louder the music is, the more strain on the battery it's going to be for any Bluetooth device, no matter what it is, whether it's a phone or tablet or anything, so keep that in mind. Apparently, this has 10 sets of Velcro straps included because this is meant to be hoisted onto the wall. Now, granted, I'm not going to show you it on the wall. We're just going to go through the typical unboxing and how to sync and all that good stuff so you know whether this is actually worth purchasing or not. And again, for the $10 price tag, to be honest, some people would just get this just to hang on their wall to look cool, and I think that itself gets some cool points. But again, this is a tech video. So let's get right into it and stop wasting time. So let's get this part out of the way right now, the instructions. I know there are a lot of people that look at these videos and they want to know how to turn it on or how to sync it. Don't worry, I'm going to show you that in a separate section. But I do want you to also get the instruction manual. So right here, here's the instruction manual. Talks to you about the battery life. I already mentioned that in the opening, but for the person out there that wants to see it in written, confirmed, here we go. This is everything that comes with it. I'm going to go ahead and flip it on this side, and this shows you how to use it. So everything from power on, power off, how to pair it, pause and play, volume up and down, previous, next song, TWS function when you want to hook up more than one speaker. So from my understanding, you can buy 2 of these, which will be about $20 total before taxes and everything. And you can actually sync them to one another so that the sound is much bigger. But now the real reason for that is because this kind of is, I want to say that it's like an aesthetic that sits on your wall in the background. So even if you decided not to use this for the Bluetooth speaker functionality, some people might buy it strictly because of how it looks. And to each their own. I'm not here to judge you. Anyway, it tells you how to hang it on the wall on the back of the product, and I'll show you that in a second, and how to charge it. So let me see if there's anything else inside. Pretty much this is just like the warning label and things. You're not really going to use that. But like I said before, go ahead and take a screenshot of this right here. It shows you all the functionality of the Bluetooth, so you'll know exactly what to do with it. With that being said, now we can go on to the actual unboxing. So I already showed you guys the instructions, so you already know how to pause and play, skip songs, things like that. More importantly, let's look at the actual product. Now, if you looked at the box, you're probably wondering why is it set up like this? Let's be perfectly clear here. I didn't know this until I opened this up, and I need you guys to understand that this only has 1 speaker inside of it. So let's say you get 2 of these. It's only going to be 2 speakers total. The rest of these, completely hollow. Nothing is inside of it. So outside of this one, the pause and play, here we go, pause, play, power button. You have the skip forward and a volume, and skip backwards and volume down. Of course, this indicator right here will let you know if it's charging or not, if it's on, if you have USB-C, which the USB-C cable is right here. Now it also comes with 10 Velcro strips. So technically you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means you have 2 strips per thing that go right here. Now, if you're wondering how to put them on the wall, I'm not going to show you how to put them on the wall because it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to show you how to set it up. Watch this. So these actually come apart. It's Velcro. See that? Now, the reason this is necessary is because, remember, when you peel this side off, this is glue. It's going to stick onto your wall. So wherever you place it, these are going to stay in that spot unless you manually pull them up. And it's a possibility that you can tear the paint on your wall or something like that. So be very, very, very careful of that. Once they're placed inside of here, like let's say you decide to put this one here, it's 5 of them. So obviously this part will go into the back of here. Or you do have the option of putting this one on the back and this one against the wall. It honestly doesn't make a difference. But 2 of these will have to be on the wall and 2 of these would have to be on the device itself. So that way it will stick on the mechanism and it will hold it in place. Once that's done, right? You thought that was the difficult part? That's not even the difficult part. Man, this is like, I didn't realize that this speaker required so much work. After you manage the speaker, remember, this one has to stay out in the open because you want to be able to charge this one. You can pull off the wall and charge it, or you can place it underneath a power outlet where you don't have to move it, which I think some people are going to do. That's what I plan on doing. Because of these, right, you're going to have to manage them where when you stick them against the wall, you're going to have to make sure that it's locked. Like they don't lock in or anything. So you have to make sure you have to position it so that when the Velcro stick against the wall, you won't have like gaps in your wall. Because if you're one of those people, you have unsteady hands, it's a possibility that you'll place this against the wall and then you'll mess up your wall a little bit by constantly taking the paint off and moving it. So just keep that in mind. But you have the option of basically creating whatever design it is like this that you want. See what I'm saying right here? Let me make sure I look into the camera that is in here. Then you can switch it around if you want to. You can do that. You can do this. You can do that. There's so many designs. The designs are based on whatever it is that you could come up with and how you like it to be. But just make sure that this one with the buttons, this is the main speaker. None of these matter. There's no technology in there. I just got to keep talking about that. None of these matter. This is the one that has the speaker in it. Everything else is just aesthetic reasons. So just kind of keep that in mind. But anyway, I'm going to show you guys how to sync this. Like most Bluetooth, syncing should be pretty easy. I'm going to show you now. We're going to hold this power button until it powers on. Heard it? Bluetooth mode. Now it's blinking. My assumption is that it's going to put itself into sync mode automatically. So I'm just going to give it a couple seconds to blink. Even though it's probably already in pairing mode, I'm just going to leave it alone. Now that that's done, we're going to go over here to the settings of this phone. We are going to go to Bluetooth and pair new device. Now, older ones say pair new device. It depends on the software of whatever device you're using. Can it connect to Apple devices? Yes, it can connect to Android devices, tablets, many different things, even PCs, as long as you have a Bluetooth battery life. Bluetooth battery life. Have Bluetooth connectivity on your PC because all of them don't. Anyway, hex Bluetooth speaker. We're going to go ahead and tap that. Wait for it to load. It's supposed to be pairing right now. It's taking kind of long though, gotta be honest with you. Normally this would be done by now. Here we go. So you have the option to allow access to your contacts. Now, the reason why you may not want to do this, a lot of companies infringe on your rights and they sell your data, just being honest with you. And says we're not successful. Let me just press pair. I'm sorry. I was supposed to press pair. Now it's synced right now. Also, some Bluetooths have the ability to read back text messages or phone calls, like it'll let you know who's calling. That's something that you'll have to individually try. A lot of times they don't tell you that until you actually sync it. But as long as you follow this process, it should be very easy to sync it. Super easy, no multi-point. So for a person out there that wants to sync this to another device, if the original device like this one is still in the vicinity and connected, you won't be able to sync it to another device. So you'll have to actually physically go to the cogwheel or whatever and press forget. And then when you turn the speaker on, off, and then turn it back on, it should automatically put it back into Bluetooth mode for the next person to use it. But teach their own. Anyway, that is how you sync it. Just follow these instructions. You shouldn't have any problems. Now, because these other speakers don't have anything in them, they're basically hollow. We only need this one for the video purpose of music quality tests. I'm going to play 2 songs for you guys. For anyone familiar with the channel, you already know, but for new people, it's one called Warzone, and the other one is called Ice and Fire, I believe it's called. And they're both YouTube music that you can use on YouTube Studio on your PC or Mac. I don't know if Mac has it, but if you have the web browser, there's songs that you can use that they are okay with for backgrounds, intros, and things like that. So I appreciate that. Now everyone can make music. Anyway, I'm going to play it now so you can see the quality. It's actually not super loud. That's max volume. I'm turning it down a little bit. Okay. I mean, the bass isn't anything crazy, music quality wise. Let me pause it real fast. listening to the instruments in the background, I don't think that this really suffers in terms of quality, though the maximum volume, to be honest with you, isn't very loud. It's not very loud at all. If you're in a room with other people, like one other person having a conversation, like for instance, let's say this is against the wall, like it's supposed to be hanging up, and you're speaking to a family member, laughing, having a good time. I think that just one other person in the room, this isn't loud enough where it can overpower a conversation. I don't think that it can. To be honest, you might be able to have conversations, laughing, the TV could be on and different things and going, and you may not even notice what's playing on the speaker because it just doesn't really have that much oomph. And to be honest, I didn't expect it to. But because of the price tag and the aesthetic itself, I don't think it's bad. So even if you're not a person where you're like, you know what, I want to use this speaker, but I want to make it like a wall painting instead, that's perfectly fine. It reminds me of something that you would get from Ross or Burlington, like one of those speakers, I'm sorry, not speakers, one of those picture frames on the wall and stuff. I think this is pretty cool. And like I said before, depending on how you do the design of how you set it up, like right here, you can have it going up and down and things like that. I think that looks pretty cool against a wall. But of course, music quality matters more than looks, obviously. So I'm not going to give it too much bell. But let me play another song. It's going to be called Fire and Ice to see how good it does in vocals. Don't worry, the vocals are about to come up in a few seconds. I'm just letting it rock out so people can hear how the quality of it. Yeah, it's not very loud at all, to be honest with you. Normally with certain speakers, I talk a little bit louder. I don't feel like I really have to with this speaker. I mean, it's not bad. It's not a horrible speaker. It's actually pretty good. You know what? Let me... Okay, I heard enough. Here's the thing. I'm a little conflicted. Now, normally at Five Below, you can get speakers that are $8 that sound better than this by far. But when you look at the aesthetic and what the speaker gives you, like you get 3 to 5 hours of battery life, and a lot of speakers only give you 3 hours, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. I'm sorry, 1 hour and a half, an hour and a half, 2 hours. The battery life fluctuates depending on the brand that you buy. I'm out here stuttering. This isn't horrible. Because for me, I am actually going to put this in my game room. Like I have an actual room, for anyone that is aware of it, where it's figurines and everything everywhere. And this is something that I don't mind putting against the wall and having it there so that if I ever need to just, sync my phone to something real fast and play it out loud, I can do that, like a podcast or something. And then I could just hook it up to a USB-C while it's behind my computer desk. And I think that's a cool thing to do. But I'm looking at all the practical applications. If we're just talking about music, yeah, you can definitely find something $5.55 from Five Below. You can find something half price in the clearance section a lot of times that sound better than this. And you can certainly get speakers that are $8 that sound better than this. And I've reviewed some on the channel that sound way better than this. But again, it's all about what you want to use it for. So the music lover out there, guess what? If you're listening to Korn, no, I don't suspect the speaker at all. If you're listening to any other rock music, like heavy metal, things like that, this speaker is going to be very lackluster. If you're into crunk music, if you're into trap music, if you're into drill music, this isn't going to give you the feels that you want. But if you're into soundtracks, I tried some classical music. And for example, like I did it off camera too. I played the Resident Evil 2 original soundtrack, the Resident Evil 3 original soundtrack. I normally I'm writing a book, like a little fictional novel, a fun novel and stuff like zombies and stuff. And it sounds just fine doing that because it didn't, even though there's a lot of instruments playing, I don't need that extra bass, that extra quality and clarity of sound. It's clear enough, but you can definitely tell that, they didn't put much into the speakers. Well, speaker, because none of these other guys here, like I said before, are actual speakers. And that's very, very disappointing, but it is what it is. But anyway, yeah, if you're buying this for quality of music, then you might want to look elsewhere. I'll put it that way. So to answer the question of whether this is actually worth the asking price, yeah, I'm just showing you guys in case you skipped to that part and didn't pay attention to the rest of the video that this does disconnect. This is the only one where the speaker is right here, and the rest of these are just hollow out pieces, which is kind of disappointing. But at the end of the day, it's supposed to be like a wall poster, kind of like a painting, like something abstract and like art, basically. And that's what they were going for. The Bluetooth volume really isn't that loud, to be honest with you. It doesn't have that much bass, in my opinion. It's good enough, put it that way. For 3 to 5 hours of battery life, it is in fact good enough. I'm not going to downplay this like this is a piece of junk. It's not. But I do want to say that there are other products at Five Below that I have reviewed recently, and other things in general at Ross that are, you know, $14.99, $12, $17. That's going to outplay this easily. As a matter of fact, my last video was the Soundcore by Anchor Minis, and that speaker is substantially more powerful than this, and that's at $24, regular price, $17.99 at Ross. And you may ask yourself, okay, well, you didn't try 2 speakers together. Listening to the one speaker, it's still weaker, even if you put 2 to 3 to 4 speakers together, than that one Soundcore Anchor speaker, which is normal price is $24.99. And that's something that came out 3, 4, 5 years ago. So it's all about the quality of the build. It's the quality of the drivers. It depends on what the company's goal is. And I don't think a enjoyable music experience was really meant for this. Like just average listening, something cheap to hold you over. A lot of times we want top dollar products and we're not willing to pay top dollar for it. And again, that's where Five Below comes in. They kind of just get products from places, I guess, that aren't in circulation anymore, kind of. And sometimes it's a dud, sometimes it's not. I'm not going to call this a dud. Is it better than other speakers that at Five Below? Not necessarily. You heard it in the sound test. But with what it offers, putting this on a wall, out of sight, out of mind, you can actually decorate your home, and you can have a speaker on the wall in case you ever need it. I think that is a cool thing. So to each their own. For $10, it's not that bad. But anyway, like and subscribe like always, guys. Don't really have anything else to say. Hopefully you liked the video, and I'll just see you in the next one. Peace.